All right, a very warm welcome to this is yet another episode of Market Pulse on Citizen Digital. And of course, this is a show that tells you everything that is currently going on in the world of business. And today, something interesting was happening. Safaricom's M Pesa was marking 18 years of operation in the Kenyan market. And of course, they've gone beyond the Kenyan market and into other different markets across the continent. But the most interesting thing is this was an idea that by all means, at the very beginning, could have been shut down. It's an idea that had the potential to not see the light of day. And today we are privileged to have the Chief Financial Services Officer, that is Esther Waititu. She's, of course, in charge of all the good things that you see on M-Pesa and all the other ones. But she'll tell us about all the products they have on M-Pesa and how those came about. Esther, thanks so much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have time with you.
All right, so first things first. 18 years. How does that feel? How does that make you feel when you look at the success of M-Pesa? And of course, I know your background was officially in the banking space. So I want to take you back. You transition now to Safaricom and M-Pesa, and you start interacting with this ecosystem. What was your biggest shock?
So my biggest shock was the pace of change that happens in M-Pesa or in financial services. I came from the banking sector, and the banking sector, we're very structured and we go through a very lengthy process, also very hierarchical and a little bit bureaucratic. Then I entered this wonderful machine called M-Pesa, and we are just churning. We first of all work in very flat teams, agile teams, which are cross-functional teams. We're building new things all the time. We are testing new things. We're working with multiple partners. We're talking to developers. So just the amount of activity around innovation was really, really amazing. So that has been a very big transition for me. Not that the banks are not innovating, we do innovate, but the pace of change is very different on this side. So that's what makes it really, really exciting. And to see 18 years of different innovations coming to life. I mean, today we launched our money market fund, which you can invest as little as 100 shillings. So now I'm really hoping that we don't complain about fees anymore, because you can invest anything you have in your wallet, get a return, and be able to still transact. So those are some of the things that we're doing, and we can only do this through strategic partnerships with our clients. So we work with our partners who are experts in specific areas, and we enable them through our platform to deliver all the services that we can potentially give them. It is our role to be a digital lifestyle provider. And in providing this lifestyle options, we have to work with all different partners.
All right, so we'll get to the MMF that has just been launched later on in this conversation. But I want to take you back. Initially, when M-Pesa launched within the Kenyan market, the idea behind it at the time was for Kenyans to be able to send money back home.
Yes.
Now, over the years, there has been innovations. There have been new products that have been onboarded on the M-Pesa platform. Right. And I just want to know, as we have this conversation, it seemingly appears that M-Pesa has everything covered. Whether it's sending money, whether it's receiving money, whether it's making payments for bills, whether it's access savings, credit, all those services are there.
Yes.
What is the way forward? Where do you go after this?
That's an interesting question. So 18 years of now integrating into your lifestyle. So really our future is going to be around how we enable technology to make your life simpler. Our goal has never changed from that role of being simple. So ours is just to say, how do we provide you with every single financial requirement that you would need? And then how do we connect you to businesses? So we have our super app. In our super app, we also work with businesses who are able to then showcase specific services and products. So if you're, for example, looking to travel, you don't need to leave the super app. We already have an app in there, book a flight. We've got special deals with the likes of Kenya Airways. So then you can also then be able to book your flight. So we are basically ensuring that for every single financial need that you have, we're bringing that partner onto our platform. We're creating a place where you can connect and just make sure that all your lifestyle requirements are being met. From how you earn money, a lot of people today are paid into the M-Pesa wallet. Our wallet can hold up to 500,000 shillings. That then means that many people are paid directly into this wallet. So that's how you're earning. As someone who's in business, you're also receiving money into either your wallet or you're receiving it into your till, right? So you're earning money. Then once you have that money, how are you spending it?
Yeah.
Are you paying for your rent as an individual? Are you paying for a subscription on Netflix? Or are you paying the regular kiosk guy right next to you? That's how you're spending the money. But on those days also, when you don't have enough money in your wallet, that's when credit then becomes an option for you then to use, so that your lifestyle is not interrupted in any way or any shape.
Yeah.
And then you're able to repay once you earn the money. And so we're taking it to the next level, which is then how then do you invest? How do you make sure you're getting a return for this money that you've worked really hard to get to? So the way forward for us really is ensuring that we are a lifestyle provider, and we're not leaving connectivity behind. And connectivity, I mean here, is data, right? All of us are online watching a game, seeing what's happening on YouTube. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Again, that's all powered by the data that comes through Safaricom. When you're talking to your loved ones, you're engaging. So that's a whole space around connectivity.
All right. So in terms of, and I know there are different products that are currently on M-Pesa, but cumulatively, how many products or solutions do you have on the M-Pesa platform?
Oh, goodness. I'll have to put them in categories for you, right? Okay. So we've got at least 5 broad categories of products that we have. And then the first set is around payments, right? So your send money, your, receiving money, that's one category of payments. And in there, there's so many. There's P2P, which is person to person. There's individuals to businesses, businesses to businesses. So there's quite a number in there. Then the other category that you then look at is then borrowing, right? Yeah. So borrowing, Fuliza is one of them. We've got M-Shwari in there. We've got KCB M-Pesa in there. We've got a Timiza, which is a product that we have together with ABSA. We've got, Tala in there. All those different products now sit in our platform. Then we come to savings. Savings, again, you still have KCB M-Pesa. We've got M-Shwari. Now we've got ZD, our latest baby in there, which is a money market fund. And we also launched today ZD Sharia for those of the Muslim faith who would still like to invest their money and making sure that they're compliant from a religious point of view. That's another opportunity we have. We also have insurance, which is another category. So device insurance. So for phones that are being purchased through our Lipa Mdogo Mdogo platform, those are all embedded with insurance. And they're insured against loss, they're insured against damage. And so we've got a full array. I think if you were to put individually the products that we have, there are over 120 products in our ecosystem. But the easiest way to think about it is to think about them across the categories. When you're earning money, what will you use when you're earning money? When you're spending it, again, what solutions do we have for you? When you want to invest, what solutions do we have for you? And that's how we think about our business, based on customer needs, not on specific products. All
right, and just looking at this M-Pesa ecosystem, the other people that come to mind is the merchants and the M-Pesa agents. And of course, a lot of Kenyans have been wondering, how do they make money? Because we know the rates that go to Safaricom.
Yes.
All right, when you're making those transfers, but how do these merchants make money?
So let me separate the two so that it's easy to understand. So agents are the enablers of our ecosystem. And when we say enablers of our ecosystem, they are our physical representation in the market. So we have over 300,000 agents that we work with today, and they're located across the country. So what we do as we work with them is we ensure that they're in areas where there's a good population size that they can serve, and they provide services such as cash in, cash out. That's an example of what they then deliver. But they're the backbone of our infrastructure in terms of ensuring that money gets into the ecosystem and also is able to get out. And theirs is a commission-based service. So for the transactions that they process, we have agreements with them individually and collectively in terms of the rate that we pay them. As a business person, of course, that is factored into the cost that individuals pay, but we make sure that they're adequately compensated for the role that they play in providing access, and also to ensure their security, because they're actually handling real cash. And so we ensure that they're appropriately compensated. Now let's talk about the merchants. The merchants are business owners. They're business owners who receive M-Pesa into their business wallets, which can either be in form of a till or in form of a pay bill. Now, depending on the nature of the business, especially for utility providers, it's a pay bill arrangement where they then need to take additional details for each of the pairs. The simplest example to give is when you're paying KPLC, I'm sure you don't want to pay for your neighbor. You want to pay for yourself. And so making sure that your account number is the right one is what we ensure through that service. And in that particular case, the consumer pays for that convenience. If you are in a store, you are in Naivas, or you are in a Quick Mart, or you're in a Chandarana, you see when you're paying there, it's the merchant who actually bears the cost. And so they factor that into their cost of sales. So there are different models depending on the type of business you're running and the type of needs that these merchants have. So merchants, we provide them with a tool. We just make sure they're able to collect and process all their business requirements. On the agent side, we also then ensure that we give them all the tools that they need in order to serve our customers. So they're just an extension of Safaricom.
All right, so let's talk revenue. And I want to ask you from a cost of operation standpoint, when you look at the cost that goes to the agents, because again, it's a commission arrangement. So how much of your operational cost goes into that? And also, how much revenue do you get from the merchants?
Okay, so the merchants are quite a big, a sizable chunk of our ecosystem, and because we're still in a closed period right now, it's impossible for me to speak about the numbers directly.
Okay.
But what I can say is that they are quite a large constituent of our revenues. Majority of our revenues today largely is on the consumer side, but the merchant business actually accounts for equally a big chunk. When you think about the agents' commissions, they are our largest cost. Okay, so if you think about this from a business perspective, in running M-Pesa on its own, because they are part of our infrastructure. And so we always balance out and ensure that they're being adequately compensated. And I'm sure I'll be able to give you all those details when we have our results coming out in the month of May.
All right, and of course, I'll definitely make a point to try and remember some of this conversation. But Esther, currently, M-Pesa is available in about 7 countries.
Yes.
You're talking about 47 banks that are interconnected into that ecosystem. And I just want to know, in terms of customer numbers, what does that look like at the moment?
Okay, so let me start by Kenya, which is really exciting. We've got over 34 million customers. The rollout that of M-Pesa that's happened in the remaining 7 markets means that we've got close to 60 million customers on our platform today. And at different levels of maturity of mobile money, because adoption also varies from country to country. So our plan obviously is to ensure that we're providing each of these markets with relevant solutions that can, that meet their societal requirements. And in terms of how we then think about each of these, how our customers are growing, and you think about Kenya, and I know the next thing you're going to say, but Esther, we're 55 million Kenyans, and you're already sitting at about 34 million. Is there room to grow? Absolutely, there's room to grow, right? There's a Kenyan being born, many Kenyans being born every day. And when you think about how we're innovating, it's then now creating products for children above the age of 13, where they can start to then work with money, helping them become a lot more financial literate. So actually last year we partnered with the Ministry of Education together with Old Mutual to develop a financial literacy curriculum that would be in our junior high schools. So we started off by educating teachers in terms of how they work with money and how they can educate young children in terms of being financially literate. And once that was completed, then this year we embarked on rolling out the curriculum around financial literacy. So simple, like I said, how do you earn money, how do you do a budget, and all of that. And we believe that's where the opportunity exists. So it's around giving people more relevant solutions, so going deeper, understanding you as an individual a lot better, using big data and analytics, AI, to start to understand you and personalize your experience with us that helps you to grow. So that's where our growth is going to come from. It's going to come from enhancing customer experiences. It's going to come from engaging in a meaningful way with the youth. It's also going into spaces where people have ordinarily forgotten. So part of one of the big partnerships we have is with Inua Jamii, which is a public sector program that provides income or pensions for the elderly. So ensuring that we're giving them a safe and convenient tool in which they can receive and earn their pension.
All right. So since M-Pesa was launched on the Safaricom platform, one of the things that we have seen is its contribution to revenue. Although there's a global figure that I would have really wanted to know, and that is how many transactions have happened for the last 18 years, and what does that translate to in terms of the value of money that has been transferred. Might you have that?
No, I wouldn't tell you the full 18 years. I have them in batches, and certainly we're going to be talking more, so you're going to definitely have that number.
Okay.
But coming through to the value that is passed, at least, let me just give you a comparison, right? We process over 4,000 transactions per second on a daily basis. That's our average. And with those 4,000 transactions, we've got over 55,000 integrations with different partners that enable and fuel our ecosystem. And based on that ecosystem is driven by different APIs that we're able to deliver into the market. And that means that we work with over 100,000 developers to develop these solutions and to scale. But then coming back to your question in terms of the number of transactions that we process on a daily, our daily average is over 80 million transactions that we process. 80 billion. All these numbers they look small, but they're quite big. So we do, so we process over 80 million transactions on a daily basis, which translates on any given day to over 90 billion being processed daily. If you compare it with the money flow in the country, this accounts for over 55% of the GDP that flows through our ecosystem.
All right, an interesting point you raised there. So a few more questions and then I'll let you go. And one of those questions that I would really want to know is, how has mobile money interoperability affected Safaricom, whether in terms of revenue or even in terms of efficiency?
Okay. So interoperability, one of the things, as we've seen the success of M-Pesa or any mobile money system, is that it then needs to become a lot more open. Okay. Typically mobile money platforms were closed within a very closed user group, and as we add on more solutions, so I talked about our journey, how we're going to be integrating with credit, we're doing a lot more with savings, we're doing a lot more with the investments. What this means is that our system has to be a lot more open. APIs is one of those key elements of technology that allows you to then be easily accessible. Now, APIs play a very big part in ensuring that mobile money network providers can talk to each other. These 47 banks that we spoke about earlier, there's no way I can connect to them individually. We work through APIs to do the same. We talked about the 55,000 integrations that we're doing. These are all premised on APIs. Now, the APIs then enable us to be interoperable. So you can easily say that with the banks, given the level of connectivity that we have, it's improved your ability to cash in and cash out. You no longer, in most cases, you don't have to do this physically. You actually can do this electronically, and that has been enabled through APIs, and that's a form of interoperability. Coming to mobile money providers like ourselves, and looking at other companies that provide a similar service, it means that we also connect in the same way. So our customers are then able to send money seamlessly across any network. The same way you're able to make a telephone call today across any network is the same way that you should be able to then transfer money. What does this mean for us? It means that we then in the marketplace need to ensure that we're providing the customer with the most efficient and most cost-effective solution. So as a result of that interoperability, it means that the level of customer experience for all parties involved, ourselves included, also has to be of a higher standard, right? It means that from a cost, from an affordability point of view, we then have to be a lot more affordable, which we have been. You did hear Peter today mention that we've got over 50% of our transactions today that are free. That we actually do not monetize, and we ensure that there's access. So in essence, interoperability has meant that we have to become a lot more sharper in our customer experience. It means that we also have to be a lot more innovative in terms of the solutions that we're providing to customers, because now they have access to a lot more. And they're going to go and work and search for the thing that works best for them. So that deepens our role in terms of being able to innovate and provide solutions across the entire spectrum of financial solutions.
All right, so let's say with this interoperability question a little longer, and particularly when you look at what other telcos are doing, and of course, Safaricom being the market leader, everyone is sort of eyeing for a piece of your business. And so the fact that now other platforms can sort of access Safaricom customers, has that had an effect in terms of your bottom line?
No. We haven't seen that impact on our bottom line, because what we are seeking to do is to provide holistic solutions. So if you are to think that already 50% of our transactions today are free, it means then we're providing value-added services on top of that, right? And so our speed around innovation, our efficiency, we talked about the transaction processing capabilities, the systems that we're investing in. It means that our investment increases, yes, but it's to generate incremental revenue that compensates for the investments that we're putting in. So on our bottom line, nope, we have not seen an impact just yet. It just pushes us to move faster and quicker.
All right, and of course, as they say in the streets, the pressure is increasing. So let's talk about ZD, the MMF. And of course, what comes to mind is there has been a lot of appetite for Kenyans, and especially when you look at most urban towns, I'm talking about the likes of Nairobi, Kisumu, a lot of them are investing in money market funds.
Yes.
Has that been one of the reasons why Safaricom has decided to get into that space?
No, so the reason we got into the money market space is it was actually an experiment, and this is the bedrock of investment. So this morning you had the Capital Markets Authority say that they are one of the only regulators in the country that have a sandbox, where they invite different participants to come in and trade with interesting ideas. And this is one such idea. So of course we study our customer data quite carefully and study the trends, as you've indicated, and we look at where money is moving, right? So we see money moving into money market instruments, we see money moving into treasury bills and bonds, we see money also sitting in the bank. And one of the things then we say is what percentage is flowing into which type of investment, and where can we add value and make it easier for customers to transact. So money market, and you know, if you look at the numbers today, you'll see that money market funds have actually grown quite exponentially. I believe it's in the rate north of 15% on an annual basis. And so it means that people want to get enhanced returns, and especially in a period like last year where we saw elevated interest rates in the country, and money market funds being short-term investments, you know, people started moving money towards that. But sometimes the entry barriers as a consumer into some of those money market funds then becomes a bit of a hindrance. And so part of the experiment there was, how do we bring this down to make it affordable, so that as interest rates are rising like they were, how can people invest and get a part of the, you know, the securities, the deposit rates that are being offered by the commercial institutions. And that's where that was birthed. So especially in an environment where you see rising interest rates, money markets are very popular. So how could we then make sure that it's accessible at as low as 100 shillings, which you know, in the M-Pesa world is a free transaction, to enable them to be able to invest. So that's how we looked at it. We experimented with it. We experimented for a long time. Ensured that we had the right safeguards, working with the right fund managers who are duly licensed, have the right level of experience in order for us to then now take this forward to the market.
So what's the return on ZD at the moment?
It varies. It's a money market fund. So as of today, we're sitting at about 7.9%. When we launched At the beginning of December, we were offering rates up to about 11%.
All right. So
per annum.
Per annum. All right. So let's talk in terms of customer numbers. How does it look, and what's your target for ZD?
Okay. So very exciting for us. Today we're just over 100 million opted-in customers on ZD today, with over 6 billion shillings already invested by our customers. And you know, we're very ambitious, we're very aggressive. We'd love to have more than 10 million. You had Peter speak today that for us proof of concept is anything that touches a million customers. So we want to go to do at least 10 times what would be a proof of concept from our perspective. In terms of assets under management, again, we'll expect a similar growth rate in terms of that multiply effect.
Which is about 10x.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So can you talk timeframes?
No, I don't think we're in the right, given where we are at this particular point of our fiscal year, I don't think it would be the appropriate time. But we are looking to grow it and grow it very aggressively, because our role is to give customers options that are affordable and to make it a lot more convenient for them to be able to trade.
All right, so let me take you back some 18 years ago. Do you think the success that we are seeing with Safaricom and M-Pesa would have happened without M-Pesa?
Wow, that's a tricky question. I don't think the financial services sector would have been as robust and as energetic as we see today if M-Pesa was not there. I honestly believe that. I also believe that given the work that we've done to develop different fintechs, remember a lot of the fintechs that ride on our infrastructure, which we shared we happily share with them. It would have been very difficult actually to achieve a lot of these things that we've achieved as a country and as an industry. I wonder if we would have created this pool of in excess of 100,000 developers. I often wonder if the fintechs that exist today, both in the digital lending, payment service providers, insurance aggregators, I don't think they would have been able to do this, or they would have, but it would have been at a slower pace. And I think a lot more complicated. So I think the role that M-Pesa has played is that of transformation and a key enabler of businesses.
All right, so let's talk about this push that every central bank governor seemingly hasn't been able to deal with, and that is the push for the separation of M-Pesa from Safaricom. And I'm sure you saw this question coming. And I just want to know, where are we with that? Earlier on, I believe towards the end of last year, what Governor Thuge then said is there was a deficit of about 71 billion that needed to have been sorted, or 71 million. Can't remember quite remember the figure outright. And I just want to know, where are we with that? Is it likely to happen? And if so, what time frames are we looking at?
Okay. So that question, I was expecting it, and everyone wants the perfect answer, and unfortunately I don't have the perfect answer. From our perspective, the separation of Safaricom and M-Pesa will be basically done if the regulator deems that fit, and we go through a process, we will comply. But given where we are today, we always look at things from a business case point of view. What additional value would that add? What are we gaining, and what could we potentially lose? So the assessments keep on going on from time to time to say, how can we maximize customer experience? How can we maximize also at the same time the return to our different shareholders and stakeholders? At the moment, we haven't come to a place where we're feeling under pressure to separate, but it's something that continuously evolves. So we're continuously evolving, continuously assessing what options exist for us. And I believe the comment that you raised around the 71 billion being a tax assessment is, we keep on assessing and seeing what are the pros and cons, what does it mean for the business. Because remember, any separation of this nature is supposed to take the business forward. It's supposed to make it a lot more open. It's supposed to deliver value.
Yeah.
So the minute we find the right value, and you know, it makes sense for us, it's something then that we can explore. So no, I cannot give you a timeline.
All right. I think that's a good place to end it, Esther.
Okay.
Thank you so much for making time to be on Market Pulse. And of course, that's all the time we have for you on these episodes. And remember, you can always follow these conversations every Wednesday on Citizen Digital. My name is Jimmy Mbogo. Thank you for watching.